Hey, this is Suryansh. I've built more than 4 full stack applications in less than 40 days. In this video, that's exactly the style I'm going to share with you so that you can build applications at the speed of the flash. The language that I use and I've seen being used everywhere else is TypeScript. TypeScript is just very type safe and it helps you in preventing errors. It's basically a very strong lint and a IDE helper that's being put on top of JavaScript, and that really helps in preventing errors before they are put out in the production. Before starting any application, the most basic thing that you'll need is a package manager. Now, the package manager that I personally use is pnpm, but to be honest, you can get away with even npm and yarn. So I'm not going to give my opinion on this. It's completely up to you, but I would highly recommend you to shift to pnpm because of its great, immense memory benefits and speed benefits. Right. Now comes everyone's favorite. The library that we'll be using for creating our front end and back end. It's of course everyone's favorite and Vercel's open source project, Next.js. That's exactly what I've been using for the past 8 months now, and I'm amazed at the speed and the quality of code that I've been producing so far. It's just amazing. Next.js allows you to build your front end and back end in the same damn project. How cool is that? You don't need to set up any other Express project to host your backend. You can literally host your projects in Vercel itself. Next.js is great. Now that you've set up your Next.js application, you'll want to keep your backend APIs type safe. A way to do that is by using gRPC and Zord. gRPC is a way for you to bind your backend schema with your front-end schema and have them communicate with each other exactly what is going to be received by the backend and what is going to be received by the front end. The other thing that you'll be needing is React Query. React Query is really useful for handling any user mutations that happen and sending them to the backend. Next up, we'll be talking about databases and ORMs. Now, the database that I recommend to all my friends and even to you now is just choose any SQL database. I know as a beginner or even as an intermediate coder, it gets a little intimidating to write all these schemas up front and just lock in your schemas. But SQL offers you so many benefits when compared to non-SQL databases like MongoDB. I have linked down an amazing video by Theo who compares SQL and NoSQL databases. The database that I personally use and I've seen being used in a lot of open source projects is Postgres. Postgres is very, very scalable. There's this talk by Dr. Kailash Na, the CTO of Zerodha, who talks about why Postgres is so amazing. And yeah, I just love Postgres. It's very scalable, very cheap to host. Mostly we will never be writing raw SQL in our full stack applications. We'll be using something known as ORMs, which also stand for Object Relational Mapping. And the one that is very popular right now and very, very fast is Drizzle ORM. Drizzle ORM is completely open source ORM that can be used for any SQL databases, whether that be Postgres, MySQL, or SQLite. Now that you have built your scalable backend and probably have a database set up, you'll be looking to styling your applications. The way I style my applications is using Tailwind CSS for the base CSS classes and shardcn for picking up components that I really like and putting directly in my applications. Shardcn has ready-to-use components which you can just pick up from their website and just put it in your project directly. No installation required. That's crazy. For authentication, I mostly use Nextauth. Nextauth is a completely open source and 100% free to use library. The great thing that I love about Nextauth is its simplicity and how reliable it is. Now I've mostly used Nextauth in combination with other OAuth providers such as Google Auth or Solana Adapter. One of the bonuses that I would like to give you about Drizzle and Nextauth together is that Nextauth has a Drizzle adapter, which allows you to store any logins and session and cookies into your database directly. So you don't need to write any extra code. Just use the adapter that's already there by the Nextauth people. Now that you know how to build your application really fast, we'll be talking about deploying the application. To deploy the application, we'll be using Vercel, which will handle the front end and the backend APIs 100% free. Talking about the database, if you're using a Postgres database, I highly recommend NeonDB. Neon is again free to use. A really neat trick in Neon, if you're using it for multiple projects, is to just create a new table, a new database inside it without actually creating a new instance of the database. And that helps me in keeping track of the multiple projects I have inside a single instance of the database. That was a great walkthrough about how you can build applications at God speed. Now all you really need is for the Batman to contact you and fund your app, or maybe get some real users to bootstrap your application. Bye bye, and I'll see you in the next one.